Hey guys, Merry Christmas and welcome to Six Hearts on Six Acres. My name is Bree and I am going to bring you along with me to share one of our family's most favorite traditions in the kitchen today. And that is an entire day full of baking cookies and making Christmas candy. At the end of the day, we package it all up and we take it around to what we consider our neighbors. We live in the country, so we don't have anybody super close to us. So this requires getting in our car and driving a few miles to visit each of them and wish them Merry Christmas. Our kids usually sing some Christmas carols at each home, and we get to share our love and the love of Jesus with each of those neighbors that we bring our goodies to. Ella and I are starting our day of baking with actually something that doesn't have to be baked at all. We are going to make some peppermint marshmallows dipped in a dark chocolate and then topped with a little bit of candy cane. They are so delicious and a perfect addition to a cup of hot cocoa or coffee. So the first thing you saw us do was put our gelatin in our mixer. That was a quarter cup of gelatin to half a cup of cold water, and we're going to let that set while we start on our boiling mixture. So to a pot, you're going to add half a cup of water and 1 cup of sugar, and you're going to let that boil on medium heat until it reaches 230 degrees. Or if you don't have a candy thermometer, you can just watch it and let it go until it reaches the thread stage. For us, that took about 9 to 12 minutes, depending on the batch that we did between this week and last week. Once your sugar syrup has reached that 230 degrees, you're going to take it and slowly incorporate it into your gelatin mixture while it's whipping, and it's slowly going to change from this liquidy off-white mixture into a really beautiful, fluffy, almost silky looking marshmallow mixture at the end. Once this happens, you add in your vanilla, or we were doing peppermint vanilla, so we did 1 teaspoon of each. And then you're going to transfer this mixture into a prepared baking dish with some parchment paper, and you're going to want to put spray even on your parchment paper. We went with the Baker's Joy and had no issue at all with the sticking. We wanted to make this look really festive, so we decided to swirl in some red food coloring in the top of this. That is completely optional. You can do it if you want. If you'd like to stay away from food coloring, don't add that to yours. I don't mind just a tiny bit, especially for festive treats like this, and it made it look really pretty. I would love it so much if you guys could share your favorite Christmas cookie and Christmas candy recipes with me in the comments below. Sometimes we make the same treats every single year, and there are a few that we do make every single year, but we also like to add new ones as well, and so I would love to hear what you guys make every Christmas at your home. Last week was the first time that we ever made homemade marshmallows, and I'm pretty sure that we are completely hooked now. They're so easy to make. You can customize them with a million different flavors. They aren't full of garbage, like it's a pretty clean treat, and I can't even imagine how delicious the s'mores are going to be this summer with homemade marshmallows. You let those marshmallows sit for about 3 to 4 hours until they are completely cooled and completely set, and then they will be this really fluffy, beautiful, almost, I don't know how to describe it, just a fluffy, chewy texture, squishy like a normal store-bought marshmallow. And then you're going to want to coat those in a mixture of equal parts powdered sugar and cornstarch, just so that they aren't sticky to the touch or so they don't stick together once you package them. We really wanted to fancy these marshmallows up, so like I said, we dipped half of them in a dark chocolate that we melted from chocolate chips, and then sprinkled the top of those with some crushed candy canes. This was a great chore for a kid to do. It was easy enough that they could do it with no help at all, and they felt really accomplished. Isaac is now starting on our crock pot candy. This is again another recipe that a child can do pretty much completely independent, and he had so much fun making this recipe. This is one that we make every single year. I will warn you though, it makes a lot. So if this is just for your family, I would definitely at least half this recipe. We went in with 2 jars of salted peanuts. I have seen recipes say 1 jar of salted and 1 unsalted, but I had salted on hand, so that's what I went with. A bag of chocolate chips, a bag of butterscotch chips, 1/3 of a cup of peanut butter chips, and then 1 package of that white almond bark. And you're gonna put this in your crock pot on low. Once it's been in for about an hour, which is where we're at now, you're gonna stir that really well and just get it as incorporated as possible. It's not gonna be all melted at this point. And this is our number 2. It should be fully melted and you'll be able to get it all nice and stirred in and incorporated. And then at this point, my favorite way to do it is to put it in mini muffin little cups. And that's what Isaac is doing here. Again, another job that a child can do completely independently, takes the work off your hands and gives them a job to do in the kitchen, which they always, my kids anyways, always love. To make these more festive, we just top them with a few sprinkles and then just let them set until they're completely cooled and solid. And we are starting now with our first batch of cookies for the day. These are our thumbprint cookies. We love to make these. You can use so many different flavors of jam to just change it up. We went with our Christmas jam that we just canned last week, and they are so good. You're going to start off by creaming 1 cup of butter and 1 cup of sugar together. Once that's fully creamed, you're going to add in an egg and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Once that looks like it's mixed really well together, you can go ahead and add in your dry ingredients. That's going to be 2.5 cups of flour and 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. And then you're just going to let that come to a nice dough consistency and then move that to the fridge so that it can chill for at least 30 minutes to an hour. This was our first mixer incident of the night. We have another one coming, an even messier one. These kids love to just get in here and turn it up on high speed and not think about what is going to happen when that sugar goes flying all over the place. Their faces are usually hilarious. Once that mixture chills for 30 minutes to an hour, you're going to roll these into about 1-inch balls and use your thumb to make an imprint. You want it deep enough that it can hold some jam, but not so deep that it's almost all the way through. You're going to have to find a middle point there. Again, another really great chore for a child. The Christmas jam that we're using here is what we made last week. It's a mixture of cranberries and blueberries and strawberries and blackberries and cinnamon and all different types of spices. It tastes amazing and it smells so good, and it really makes these cookies taste Christmassy. Olivia's going to start on our second batch of cookies, And these are ones that we make every single year. I made them growing up every year. Like if you ask me one cookie that reminds me of my childhood, it is definitely these Spritz cookies. We always made them in the Christmas tree shape or the wreath shape, and I do the same with my children every single year. Go ahead and just keep watching here for another huge but hilarious mess. These cookies are so easy to make. All you do is cream together 1 cup of butter with 1 1/4 cup of powdered sugar. Take Olivia's advice and start your mixer on slow. Then you're gonna add in 1 egg and half a teaspoon of vanilla. If you have almond extract, half a teaspoon of almond extract in here along with the vanilla tastes really good as well. I was out today, so I didn't add that in. Once you get that mixture all creamed really well together, you start adding your dry ingredients, which is the 2 1/2 cups of flour. That's it. Super simple. If you want to dye your dough, this is the point when you would do that. We always pretty much go with green because we like that Christmas tree, and it just looks really great with all the colors of sprinkles that we use along with this. So we went ahead and added our green dough, and then it's time to load up your cookie gun. I got this cookie gun from Walmart. I got it as a Christmas gift actually from my husband's grandma back before we had any kids. And I use it every single year, and I have never had any issues with it. It works really well. If you've never used a cookie gun before, it takes a little bit of getting used to just how much pressure you use and how much you turn it. But all you do is just load your dough into the gun. Then you're going to clean off the top and make sure it's nice and clean. And then you push this gun onto a greased baking sheet and just give a small turn on the handle and then pull straight up, and that's going to imprint your cookie onto your cookie sheet, and they are ready to add sprinkles and bake at this point. You can use any sprinkles that you like. We always prefer just the sugar sanding sprinkles. I don't love like the sprinkles that are more of like candies. I don't know, I just don't like the crunch on there, and so we always use the sanding sugar, and they taste so good and they're beautiful. These bake quickly, only 7 to 9 minutes, so you can get a whole batch done super fast. I'm going to show you really quickly what we are doing for dinner tonight. This has nothing to do with cookies or treats, but it's a super fast dinner that I can throw together with the items that I put up this summer. So, or with some of them anyways. I'm making chicken taco soup, by the way. I'm gonna throw in a can of beans, whatever you have on hand. I would prefer black beans, but I don't have that, so I'm using a can of kidney beans. A jar of our homemade vegetable stock. A bag of those frozen bell peppers that we put up from our garden. A bag of frozen yellow squash that we put up from our garden. about a cup of frozen corn. And then you can use chicken, which is what I'm using, or hamburger. Either one works great. My husband grilled some chicken the other night and we had it left over. So I'm just gonna throw this in this pot. A jar of this Rotel that we canned together this summer as well. Take a spoon. And then 3 tablespoons of our homemade taco seasoning. My chicken is already cooked, so I'm just gonna let this go on low for 2 to 3 hours. If your chicken is not cooked, you can do high for 3 to 4, or you can do low for like 4 to 5 hours. And we're gonna have a delicious, nutritious, healthy pot of soup that took, what, 2 minutes of work to throw together. And we're using all of the food that we put up this summer and not letting it go to waste. We are going to move right along with another treat that we make every single year because it's one that I made when I was a child. These are our peanut butter balls. Some people call them Buckeyes. They have several different names. Either way, they're delicious. Now, in the past, I have never included Rice Krispies. I've always just made like a peanut butter powdered sugar mixture and used that, and they were so good. But I saw this recipe add the Rice Krispies and I thought it would be a really good crispy addition, so we decided to do that this year. All you do is melt 3 tablespoons of butter and mix that together with 1 cup of peanut butter, and then add in 1 cup of powdered sugar and 2.5 cups of Rice Krispies. At this point, you're just going to take that whole bowl and move it to the fridge for about 30 to 45 minutes so that you can shape those Rice Krispie peanut butter mixture into balls. We did about 1 inch. I feel like that's a good size to have a good treat, but it's not too rich and it's not like a huge messy peanut butter ball. So about 1 inch was perfect for us. We used, actually we did 2. We did so half of them in a milk chocolate and then the other half in a dark chocolate. Olivia coated those for us and then we set them out on parchment paper until they were cool and completely set. I think this recipe that Ella is making was the easiest one that we made all night as far as cookies go. It's a new one for us. I've never had it before, but I did have one after dinner tonight and they were delicious. They're not super sweet. They're just a really mild, lightly sweet cookie that's a really great addition to a cookie tray like this where there's lots of flavors and richness and chocolate. This is just something plain and mild and it's really good. So all you do is cream together 1 cup of softened butter in 1 can of sweetened condensed milk. And then once that's creamed together really well, you're gonna add 2 cups of flour and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And then you're just gonna put these on your cookie tray and bake at 350 degrees for 10 to 12 minutes. Once they come out, you're just going to shake some powdered sugar over the top. They're so cute. They look like a little snowball, and we will definitely be making these cookies again. Ella had to have a little taste there because this dough didn't have any eggs in it, so she was super excited to be able to have a taste, and she gave us a thumbs up. Avery is getting us started on our very last batch of cookies for the night, and these are chocolate crinkles. We had a cookie swap at work last week where we all brought cookies and then did a little bit of an exchange. These are the cookies that I made for that, and my husband requested that I make them again tonight. He absolutely loved them, and they were super easy to make, so I had no issue making these again, and I will probably make them pretty frequently throughout the year. These cookies were, like I said, easy to make. All you do is cream together 1/3 of a cup of softened butter with 1.5 cups of sugar. You're going to cream that really well till it's nice and fluffy. And then one at a time, you're going to add in 4 eggs and then 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Once that's all mixed together, you'll go in with your dry ingredients of 2 cups of flour, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and 1 cup of cocoa powder. If you don't use salted butter, you can add in 1/4 teaspoon of salt, but personally I always just use salted butter in my baking and then leave any salt out. So we just get this dough all together, and this is another dough that needs to chill in the fridge for 30 to 45 minutes before you roll it into balls. Otherwise your hands are going to be a very, very sticky mess. Like always, I will have all of the recipe ingredients and instructions in the description of this video for you to easily find, so you don't have to write down what I'm telling you. You'll be able to just go afterwards and get all of these recipes so that you can make them in your own home. Once your dough is chilled, you're just going to roll them into about 1-inch balls, dip them in powdered sugar, and then you'll bake them on 350 degrees for 10 to 15 minutes, depending on how big you make your cookies. All right, this soup is almost ready. And I want this to be a creamy taco soup, so I'm just going to throw in a block of cream cheese and let that melt for the next 30 minutes or so. And look how pretty the finished product turns out.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child, holy infant so tender and mild. Sleep in heavenly peace. Sleep in heavenly peace.
Well, our day is finished. Our treats are all done. They're getting packaged up right now, and we are on our way out to Christmas Carol to our close by neighbors. Thank you so much for spending time with me in the kitchen today. I hope that I inspired you to get into your kitchen, bring your kids along, and make some really special memories and some really tasty treats along the way. I absolutely love being able to share this tradition with you, and I hope that you pass it on and make it a tradition in your own family. Until I see you next time, may God